everyone. This is Homemaking with Rebecca, where we talk about homemaking, homeschooling, recipes, homesteading, real food. So today I want to talk to you a little bit about homeschooling and some free and cheap resources that can help you along with homeschooling. A lot of us come to this lifestyle and we're sacrificing a second income in order to stay home with our kids. So we're trying to find ways to homeschool our kids and give them a good education without it being terribly expensive. And that's one of the questions that gets asked when homeschooling comes up is it expensive? And the answer to that is it definitely can be. You can look at some of these websites and they will have full curriculum bundles, and it can be $800 to $1,000 per child per year, and that can get very expensive. But I'm here to tell you that you don't have to buy those complete bundles of stuff. You can piece together things on your own, and I'm going to give you some of the resources that we've used over the years that have helped us keep costs down while still providing a good education for our kids. So I was homeschooled myself, and that was kind of pre-internet days. The internet was just starting to get going as I was a teenager, so we didn't have that as a resource then. And our main resource was the library. You know, my mom used to tell people all the time, you can homeschool from the library because there's just so many great resources there. So I would highly encourage you, if you have a library in your area, if you have multiple libraries in your area, get cards to all those and find out what resources they have available, because obviously they're going to have books. That's a huge great resource if you're studying about a certain animal or a certain person, biography, autobiographies. You can look up those things. But also they've got so much more things. You know, they'll have classes. Sometimes they'll have like beekeeping classes or crochet classes or all different things like that on their calendars. You can look at it and see what they've got coming up, and most often those things are free to get to go to. And so our local library will also have different things, like they have puzzles you can check out or you can do there. They have cake pans that you can check out and use, because you know, if you're wanting to do a different style cake pan, I've seen where they'll have like backpacks full of different resources that kids can bring home and use. And so there's all types of things going on. Like I said, if you're in an area that has multiple libraries, I would get cards to all of them and switch out and see what they've got going on. You know, their summer reading program is great. You can win prizes for that kind of stuff, and that's always fun for kids to get to go do. And a lot of times there's a lot of extra activities that go on in the summer. Sometimes libraries will have clubs and have game nights and things like that. I know we've been to those at ours, like a girls reading book club, and we've been to like game days and stuff like that. And sometimes they specifically have things for homeschoolers, so that's really cool too. So it'll be maybe in the middle of the day when some stuff for other people is going to be later at night. So that's a huge resource, a great thing to get plugged into there. And you can meet people, you know, especially when your kids are young, doing like story time, get to meet with other moms and get to know people, and networking is always a great resource as well. So I'm going to share a few of the online resources we've used over the years. Now, some of these we're not currently using, and a lot of things have changed over the past few years. So I would encourage you to research it yourself and check it out. Don't just take my word for it, because like I said, I don't know if things have changed with these websites, and I don't want to direct you in a way that you don't want to go. So, but some of the ones that we've used over the years were Khan Academy. My kids did that some for math for a little while, and they would have like full math curriculums. Like it would be videos, and then they would work problems, and it was all online, and so that was really cool. And I think they've got science and several other things on there as well. So one of the other big ones with homeschool is called Easy Peasy Online, and this one's been around for a while, and it actually has full homeschool curriculum for each grade for free. And it's a lot of it is internet resources that it will direct you to. So that can be a really good resource if you're like, I don't really know what to do for language arts this year. I'm just going to try this one on Easy Peasy Online. You know, I would usually just fill in with that if I didn't have another curriculum that I wanted to use with them. So that's a good thing to look into. For younger kids are Teacher Monster to Read. That one was really fun. It's like games and letters and all that, and it was free. And then ABC, that just had a lot of different games and stuff. So when they were learning like their multiplication tables, I would just download like a free app on my phone where they could work those, and that was just good, like a repetitive thing that they could keep doing. Just little things like that help when you're making it a game, you know. We did reading eggs for a while. Now that is not free, but they may have like a free trial you can use, and so you can try that and see if your kid likes it, and then you can do the subscription to it or whatever. That can be very fun and engaging. Another good resource for learning languages is Duolingo. That's one we've used off and on throughout the years. They have a free version and they have a paid version. So it's very integrative, and it has them speak, it has them type out stuff, it has games you can play. It tells them the words so they can hear it, and that's really a great option for learning language. Another way to get resources for cheap or free is to borrow from friends. We've done this a lot with my friends. I'll let them borrow something and they'll let me borrow something. If you have kids that are not in the same grade, that really helps because, if your kid is in 6th grade and their kid is in 7th grade, they're finished with something, they can let you borrow it and then y'all can swap or whatever. And so usually, you've got kids multiple different ages, so that works out really good. It's just, you want to remember who you've lent stuff to so you can get it back and that sort of thing. History is really good usually because a lot of times you don't write in those books, and so that's nice to be able to borrow from people and switch out. And those history curriculums can be several $100s, so that works out really well to borrow those from people. So a few other ways to get cheap homeschool resources are the Dollar Tree is something that I've used over the years, or any of the dollar stores or bargain stores. We have Bargain Hunt here. We have Ollie's here. Any of those discount stores like that, you can a lot of times find like little workbooks and posters and things like that. A lot of times it's for the younger ages, like the elementary kids ages. But I know that was a great resource when my kids were young, like preschool, kindergarten, 1st grade. I would get workbooks from there. I would get little posters put on the wall when they were learning their colors or when they're learning the Pledge of Allegiance. I remember we had a lot of different posters so they could see that, and I would put it at eye level in the house. It was usually in the kitchen because that's where we did our schoolwork, and they could see that, and it would help them learn. And maybe one with the ABCs on it or numbers and that stuff, and they're usually like $1. So if they get torn or messed up, it's no big deal. So that's a great place to look for any type of school supplies too. Also looking for used stuff, yard sales, bookstores. Thrift Books is one of my favorite online resources for used books. So if you just know someone that their kids have graduated, sometimes they just want to get rid of a lot of their school supplies because they're done with it and they want to get it out of their house. And so, check in with them. Hey, do you have any books that you're wanting to get rid of or whatever? A lot of times they'll post on their Facebook or whatever. You've got Facebook groups that you can get used stuff on as well. A lot of times the best way to do that is in bundles. So if you're getting a whole bunch of books, you can get a really good deal on that kind of stuff. But I've had over the years, a lot of times friends of my mom's would just give me stuff that they were done with, and readers and things like that are great because they're just timeless, and you can use those over and over again with the different kids, and it's just great to have those resources on hand because especially my girls were always wanting to read. So to have these books like this that they could just pull from was really great. And I know we have a bookstore that's not super local to us, but it's about an hour away. And it's actually owned by a homeschool family now. It wasn't previously, but even when it wasn't, they often had homeschool materials because a lot of times you'll get people that'll start homeschooling and then they quit. So you get stuff that's just barely used. It might have the first few pages in it used. So that works out really good because you can get it for really discounted. So another resource is just to use your current curriculum that you already have. Pull from what you have. Sometimes we forget what we have. I haven't always had where I could put all my stuff out on shelves like this. When we built this house, I had my son build these shelves for me because I wanted to have all my books in one place where I could see them and just pull from them. But there was times we had stuff up in the attic and just in different cabinets all over the house. And so going and looking through what you have, sometimes we forget, oh, I bought this stuff at a yard sale. Oh, somebody gave me this. Let me check and see. If your kid's in 3rd, 4th grade, you might just have a few books they could read about history this year instead of having to buy a whole curriculum, So a lot of these curriculums are very easy to reuse. Like I mentioned before, letting friends borrow them. Our math is I think it's like $120 if you buy all of the curriculum at once. But if you're just buying the workbooks, it's only like $40. So all 4 of my kids have been going through the same math, so that saved me quite a bit of money, and I can resell it after that. So I'm doing pretty well. Even if I'm not reselling it for a lot of money, I'm still getting my money's worth on that. And history, a lot of times with history, even if it has a workbook you can write in, you could write that on a separate sheet of paper and so that it could be reused. So there's a lot of options with that. Now, sometimes we do get tired of using the same curriculum over and over again, especially if you're very hands-on with your kids. Sometimes you get tired doing the same things over and over again. You want to switch up, that's okay. So in the high school years, when they're doing a lot on their own, it works good to use the same curriculum for each kid if it's working well for them. Another resource that's free is The Good and the Beautiful has their language arts curriculum from, I believe it's kindergarten through 7th or 8th grade. For free, where you can just download it and print it. Now that would be a lot of printing, so you would be out that money, but if that's a good option for you, you can use that. And you can also try it out and see if you like it. Sometimes you might want to just try it out for a few months and say, oh yeah, I really like this, I'm just going to go ahead and purchase the book so it's all together or whatever. I like just being able to look at the curriculum myself, so I usually download it on my phone and look through it and see, oh, would we like to use this? Is this something we would enjoy? So yeah, just plug it into your network, your local community of people, or online communities where they're selling used stuff works good. I really like local stuff better because you don't have to pay the shipping charges, so that really helps out. Also, check with your local homeschool groups to see if they have curriculum sales in your area, or maybe you could start one yourself. That's a great resource to have and bring people together and swap out curriculum and be able to sell your own curriculum as well to make money back from that, switching it in and out. So these are just some of the resources we've used over the years. This is not an exhaustive list. There's tons of stuff out there, especially with the internet these days. I know there's so many resources. So if you have some favorite free or cheap resources that you use in your homeschooling journey, I would love for you to comment down below and let me know, so we can all just glean knowledge from each other and help each other out on our homeschooling journey. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you found it helpful, I would love for you to like and subscribe below, leave me a comment, and thank you so much. I hope you have a great day.